This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to the South today. I'm Daryl Baser. With the nation being in lockdown following a growing number of people in Auckland with COVID-19, we're again operating as an essential media service on a skeleton crew and are bringing you occasionally shorter news bulletins while we're at level 4 lockdown. There are more than 60 new cases of COVID-19 in New Zealand today, bringing the overall total of the Auckland-based Delta community outbreak to more than 200. However, on the good news front, COVID-19 Minister Chris Hipkins says the number of people getting vaccinated is spreading rapidly. At this afternoon's media briefing, COVID-19 Response Minister Chris Hipkins is pleased with the many thousands of people who are being vaccinated.
80,000 New Zealanders got a vaccine yesterday, by far the biggest day that we've had since we started rolling out the vaccine in New Zealand. From today, if you're over 30, you can book in to get your vaccine. This is quite a shift towards one of our larger groups who have a very important role to play in keeping us all safe.
Minister Hipkins used the opening up of vaccinations to people aged 30 and over to reference a slight slip of the tongue he suffered at a recent briefing.
It is a challenge in higher density areas for people to get outside and to spread their legs. I know a good proportion of them had a good laugh at my expense over the last few days, so my message to you is if you had a good laugh, I only ask that you pay me back by going and getting vaccinated.
Dr. Ashley Bloomfield says the total number of cases in this outbreak is now over 200 people. He says there are more than 60 new COVID-19 cases in the community, with 6 subclusters emerging in the outbreak.
So today we are reporting 63 new confirmed cases since 9 o'clock yesterday morning. Of these, 62 were in the community and 1 is a recent returnee in managed isolation. This brings the total number associated with this outbreak to 210 cases. That is in the Auckland community outbreak.
Within the clusters, there's a high proportion of Samoan people with COVID-19 around Auckland. Dr. Bloomfield was preaching the Be Kind message in a very direct way.
You would have seen, many of you, a tweet from the Ministry yesterday identify that there are some racist remarks and comments being directed at the people in our Samoan community affected by the current outbreak, and this is disappointing and frankly gutless.
There are 12 people in hospital with COVID-19. The government will be closely watching for any spread outside of Auckland ahead of its decision on Friday about whether to keep all of New Zealand at alert level 4. Auckland remains in lockdown until August 31st. In Dunedin, the South today. The Otago Regional Council has decided to keep Dunedin's $2 flat bus fare for the near future. Regional Council has decided during a Zoom meeting today to continue the flat fare until further discussion with the Dunedin City Council. Before this wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, Dunedin bus fares were based on zones reflecting distance travelled. Last August, the Council decided to trial a flat B-card fare of $2 for adults and $1.20 for youths, with adults paying by cash being charged $3. The scheme cost the Council more than $1.5 million over the trial year. People in need can still access food banks in Dunedin during the current level 4 lockdown. Presbyterian Support Otago has noticed an increase in demand as many people have lost income due to not having employment.
Food banks such as Presbyterian Support and Dunedin's Moray Place are still open during lockdown, delivering to those in need and allowing people to pick up in a contactless way as long as they arrange in advance over the phone.
So at the moment we're providing a contactless delivery or contactless pickup. So if people are out and about and they're needing food assistance, they can phone us and we can organise a time to collect.
Lockdown has been hard on some people, and the food bank has seen an increase in the need for their services.
We have seen an increase in demand. In the first 3 days of lockdown last week, we did what we would normally do in a week.
People are invited to donate to the food bank online, and they've also had one-off donations, such as a whole lot of school lunches, which had been made the day before lockdown.
Due to the lockdown, they ended up not being able to deliver those to the schools, so we got those and were able to disperse them out into the community.
Presbyterian Support is just one of about half a dozen food banks operating around the city. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Dunedin's Otago Museum could have its name changed to a Te Reo Māori one if campaigners have their way. The institution first opened to the public under the name Otago Museum in 1868. 150 years later, museum director Dr. Ian Griffin says the idea isn't unusual, citing Toitu and Te Papa as examples of Te Reo Māori names for museums. The museum's Māori Advisory Committee says it'll take the idea to respective tribal councils, with conferences to consider a Māori name for the museum to be held in October. A young Dunedin entrepreneur is rushed off her feet during the Level 4 COVID-19 lockdown. 13-year-old Rosie Mitchell is selling handmade face masks and donating some of the profit to charity.
13-year-old Dunedin seamstress and entrepreneur Rosie Mitchell is creating colourful handmade masks in response to the arrival of the more infectious Delta variant of COVID-19. She's already filled 100 orders with an additional backlog still to deal with.
So I just have to sew them and then iron them and then top stitch them and then thread them with elastic. So pretty much per mask it takes around 5 minutes.
Over the last couple of years, Rosie's been making all manner of goods, such as wheat bags and sacks to carry swimming costumes, putting some of the profits back into upgrading her business.
So I bought a new sewing machine last year when it went crazy, so that's like a machine that I saved up for, which has been like a lot more handy because it's an upgrade. And this year I also saved up and bought an overlocker with all the money that I've been making, so I can make even more stuff using that as well.
The masks sell for $10, and Rosie says $1 from each sale goes to the charity Heart Kids.
My sister was born with a heart condition, so she was a heart kid and got surgery, and Heart Kids was really helpful with that time.
Rosie's handmade items can be ordered online, with customers picking up their purchases through a contactless system. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And still to come on the South Today, we head to Queenstown to have a look at closed ski fields, and we talk with Queenstown Lakes Mayor Jim Bolt about the impacts of COVID on the resort town. See you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
John's doing his bit to make lockdown better. Lockdown deals, 30 to 50% off while lockdown lasts. Shop online now and save. Pick up later or get delivered with contactless options available at level 3. Lockdown deals. You might be stuck in your bubble, but that doesn't mean you can't shop at My Mate John's. Plus, interest-free payment options available only at mymatejohn.co.nz.
Where'd you get that furniture from? Stafford Street and My Mate John.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from Campbell's Menswear. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
Ah, TV. our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
No mai no, welcome back. Some of the best ski conditions of the year might go to waste. Now New Zealand is at COVID alert level 4. Ski fields in the Queenstown Lakes region have had to navigate a lack of snow and a closed international border this season. However, recent snowfalls meant their fortunes were looking up until New Zealand went into lockdown. This year the ski fields have mainly employed locals and Kiwis from further afield. With the whole of New Zealand being on COVID-19 alert level 4 lockdown until midnight this Friday was longer in Auckland. There are still no cases of COVID-19 in the South Island, prompting some to question why people and businesses so far away from the outbreak are also locked down. Earlier this week, Queenstown Lakes Mayor Jim Bolt voiced concern about his area and joined us via Zoom earlier today. Kia ora, Jim. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us today. Queenstown was hit hard with the lockdown last year. How is the area coping this time around?
Oh, it's pretty tough. You know, everybody knows the position we've been in, but we've been in this now for coming up 18 months. And, you know, we thought we were going to get the Australian market back. Earlier in the year, the rug got pulled under our feet from that. Then we were in the middle of a pretty good domestic ski season. That got shut down on us a week or so ago. Yeah, it's tough. And businesses here are getting physically, financially and mentally tired.
I understand that leads on to the next question is how is it affecting both locals and tourists?
Well, there's no tourists at the present point in time. So, you know, there we go with that. But look, there's a lot of angst. I've got a Zoom call with most of the operators locally here later in the week, and I'm expecting to hear some pretty sad news from a lot of them. I think they're really starting to find it hard. Traditionally, our economy here has survived on tourism and construction, and I've always seen construction as the trailer on the back of the tourism truck. Since this has happened, council and others have stepped up to try to shift the basis of our economy, particularly tech, the film industry and education are areas we're interested in, but it's a big old ship to turn around and we're not going to change that overnight. So right now tourism is our best opportunity.
What are your thoughts about the whole country being in lockdown? Do you think the South should still be at level 4?
Oh, look, come Friday when this is going to be reviewed, I think we need to have a look at it from the South Island's point of view, providing, of course, we are still in the position of not having any cases in the South Island. Don't get me wrong, it was the right decision to make to shut the place down when we did decide we had COVID in Auckland and Wellington. However, if we have no cases here, it would be really good to be able to see South Islanders move around the place. That does raise issues of how we control folk coming from north to south, but I'm sure that's doable. I'm sure it's not impossible. I also wonder about level 3. You know, as somebody put it, it's level 4 with takeaways. That really isn't going to do a lot for our economy. We kind of wonder whether there's level 2.5 that at least enables us to get some activity going in the district.
Indeed. You mentioned a Zoom chat with businesses over there. What's the uptake of the government subsidy been like around Queenstown?
Pretty large, yep. You know, practically every business is affected, so a lot of uptake on that. And, I'm pleased to see it because the money is there to be utilised for that. So there's certainly no lack of takers in our district.
Have you heard of any businesses who are basically, heard from any businesses who are basically just have, for them this is the last straw? Have they just, are they just folding up and shutting up shop?
Look, it's only been a week, and if we were able to get going next week, I would be surprised if it's the death knell for too many. If it's longer than that, then it will be. But I am aware of a number who are hanging on by their fingernails.
So what would your hopes be for the government's announcement this Friday? Would you like to see straight to level 2?
Personally, if there's no cases in the South Island and we can be confident of a degree of control of who is coming from the north, then I'd rather go straight to level 2. If we go to level 3, I'd like to see that we have a review again next week. And again, if there's no cases, let's open it up to level 2. But look, if you look in the longer term, I think our interest is working with government towards a gradual cracking open of the border again early in 2022. Let's get New Zealand to a level of vaccination that we're comfortable with, and then let's look at how we bring in visitors from safe parts of the world, providing they're carrying a COVID passport, and hopefully get some international business underway again.
What positive messages would you have to put out to people around Queenstown?
Look, I've been given a bit of grief for the negative messages, but the reality is that's the position we're in. So I can't tell you it's all beer and skittles, because it's not. However, we live in a terribly resilient community, a bunch of people who are really determined to ride this through, and we will. We are an enormously innovative district, bunch of really, really enthusiastic operators here. We will come through this. The sun will come up, but we've got some broken glass to crawl over in the meantime.
Queenstown Lakes District Mayor Jim Bolt, thanks for your time.
Cheers.
And after the break, on the South Today, this year's Alexandra Blossom Festival is up in the air, and we have a look at your midweek weather. See you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, it's Lindsay here from CAMPBELL'S. We have a massive manufacturer's clearance plus. There's liquidated stock from our suppliers. For example, we have cotton casual trousers from 1990, dress trousers from 1990, merino zip pullovers, fashion shirts, warm winter shirts, jackets. There's a great deal on overcoats, blazers and suits. Come and check out our jeans. We're known for our jean selection.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Come in and see the massive manufacturer's clearance at Alex Campbell Menswear.
John's doing his bit to make lockdown better. Lockdown deals. Shop online now and save. Pick up later or get delivered with contactless options available at level 3.
And my mate John.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Welcome back. Alexandra's Blossom Festival is facing uncertainty 5 weeks out from this year's event. Organisers say they're closely monitoring government updates regarding the COVID-19 alert levels. The Central Otago Festival usually attracts around 15,000 people each year. But the government's introduction of new rules, with everyone attending an event having to sign in, is likely to create a headache with the large crowd. Festival organisers say they're prepared for the gathering to go ahead, but are limiting advance spending to reduce the financial impact of cancellation. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. We're joined by the editor, Mr. Barry Stewart. Kia ora, Barry.
The new Dunedin Hospital new business case has been announced today, and it is 2,000 square metres smaller than the original plan, which is a little bit more than the last plan. So it's changed its footprint. It is now at the figure it is, and that is 2,000 less than the previous. So we get some reaction to that. More details on that, of course, in the paper tomorrow, and we get reaction. Living with 7 students in is a new, unique experience in itself, living and flatting, without adding the additional concerns about a nationwide lockdown. So an Otago University student has given us a first-hand account of life in student lockdown in her city flat. So interesting experience there. So let's have a look at that. Targa and Southland mayors have got together and have called on the government to postpone or to pause its Three Waters services overhaul whilst they, because they have lots more consultation, etc. to do. So more on that story. The Dunedin Marathon, we've been waiting on word on this for some time, but it has been postponed. Fortunately postponed rather than cancelled, so postponed until November 7. So Daryl, you've got a wee bit more chance to get a bit of training in, so it should be good.
I think I need some hill work, lots of it.
Yeah, well, you've got till November 7, so you'll be fine. We also have, of course, the what has become the regular COVID wrap of all the facts and figures of what's happened in the day, so more on that, of course.
Excellent. All that and more. Thank you, Barry. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, Dunedin's harbour mouth earlier today. Looking at the situation, a long run of cold days is set to begin on Friday, with skies mostly cloudy and showers at most times. Looking at the southern region, variable winds and some rain across this area. The Catlins hopes for 14, Balclutha 13, while Lumsden and Gore should both reach 12. To central Otago, expect moderate northerlies and showers for most across here, with 14 degrees in Wanaka and Queenstown. It's due to be 16 in Alexandra, while in Te Anau you can expect variable winds, some rain and 11 degrees. In the northern towns, expect moderate northerlies here, high cloud on the coast. Timaru and Oamaru both head for 18, while there's a bit more cloud inland with 15 degrees for Twizel and Omarama. In Dunedin, there's high cloud around tonight with an overnight low of 7 degrees. It'll be cloudy tomorrow with rain developing during mid-afternoon. The mild northerly winds die out before colder southerlies take over. Dress for a high of 15 and a low of 7. And on Friday it'll be overcast and cold with showers and a high of 8 and a low of 6. Racing down to Invercargill, it'll be rainy tonight with northerly winds and an overnight low of 9 degrees. The rain eases to showers on Thursday with colder moderate southwesterly winds developing. You're looking at a high of 12 and a low of 7. It'll be very cold on Friday with showers and some hail possible, blown along by moderate southeasterlies. A high of 7 and a low of 5. Welcome back, winter. And that's all from the South Today team for this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube, remembering to like and subscribe our social media channels. Stay tuned for today's COVID-19 announcement from the government. Stay safe and make time to stretch your legs.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.